So today I want to talk about Cynthia Erivo stepping in to protect Ariana Grande from a fan while they were at their Wicked for Good movie premiere. And by the way, if you didn't know, I'm now doing weekly videos for Neptunian members and patrons. I cover a lot of additional topics behind the scenes, and we've been having a good time back there. So if you are interested in my exclusive content, the links to join are in the description box. And of course, if you enjoy the content on my channel, make sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. All right, let's jump into it. So recently at the Wicked for Good movie premiere, a male fan jumped the barricade and charged at Ariana Grande while she and Cynthia Erivo were walking the red carpet. And Cynthia immediately ran to protect Ariana even faster than the security guard. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired. And luckily, the fan didn't appear to want to harm Ariana. He looked like he wanted to hug her. But if he was trying to hurt her, this situation could have ended much worse. Because in my opinion, the security guard did not move fast enough. Cynthia was basically the security guard in this situation. And while I understand the desire and knee-jerk reaction Cynthia probably had to protect her friend and co-star, if this man was attempting to hurt Ariana, Cynthia could have seriously gotten injured or harmed in this situation. In my opinion, she should have allowed security to do their job and protect Ariana as well as herself. And maybe she felt that it would be okay because she knew security would intervene, but in my opinion, she shouldn't have taken that chance. And it just goes back to what I always say on my channel about Black women feeling the need to always play superwoman and save everybody, many times at the expense of themselves and their own safety. I can almost guarantee that if this were the other way around, Ariana probably would have stood right there and allowed security to take care of it. And both Ariana and Cynthia are very small, thin women. Neither of them can take on a grown man. That is what security is there for. But Cynthia wanted to be Superwoman. And this reminds me of the video I did years ago on Karine Jean-Pierre when she jumped in to protect Kamala against some man who tried to get on stage and disrupt their conference or whatever they had going on. And Kamala just sat there. She didn't move. And so I really do think that Black women have internalized the conditioning that's been fed to them by society, by the Black community, that we are there to save the day, that we are there to be superwomen and jump in and protect non-Black women, whether they be white, mixed, or whatever, from any threats that they face in our presence. And ladies, it's not your job. It's not your job. Especially when men are in the room, especially when security is in the room. Sit your pretty ass down the same way the other women do. That sends the message that you too deserve to be protected. And maybe it's because Black women aren't used to feeling protected, so they want to protect everybody else. But again, that's not your job. Your job, first and foremost, is to protect yourself. And something I've observed by watching the interactions between Ariana and Cynthia during their entire Wicked press run is that she babies Ariana a lot, almost as if Ariana is a child. It's like she infantilizes her a lot. And I'm not the only one who's noticed this, by the way. The optics are so cringy that they were doing parodies of their interviews on TikTok last year, and they've been joking about Cynthia being Ariana's boyfriend and everything. And some people are saying that they're secretly lovers. I don't know if that's true. I know that Cynthia is with Lena Waithe. Ariana at one point was dealing with that married man, and they may really just be good friends. I don't know what's going on, but I just don't feel like the way Cynthia babies her is necessary. And one thing I've noticed about Cynthia is that she really leans into the strong Black woman trope. She has no problem playing the strong Black woman role, the Mammy role for Hollywood on and off the screen. And outside of her talent, I believe her willingness to lean into those tropes is why she's been so successful. Because Hollywood loves a strong Black woman, especially a strong, dark-skinned Black woman. They reward Black women for playing that role on and off screen, especially when they're next to a white woman that's perceived to be more feminine and dainty and softer, because it makes white women look more desirable and attractive, and they like being perceived that way next to Black women. They like those kind of optics. Now, they won't say that. Instead, they'll just praise Black women like Cynthia for being a hero or a good friend or a great actress. But most of them love when Black women play Mammy for them because it's a subordinate, unflattering position. And I know that many people won't agree with me on this because a lot of y'all like Cynthia, but her most popular movie roles have been very Mammy coded, where she's saving people, She's always the hero. She's the strong, resilient Black woman, or she's a misfit and a fighter and a social justice warrior, like she was in Wicked. For the most part, she plays very masculine, self-sacrificing characters. Her jumping in to save Ariana from this man is on brand. And for those who are going to say, well, Chrissy, Cynthia is a masculine-leaning, androgynous lesbian woman, and those dark-skinned women deserve representation like everyone else. They deserve opportunities too, not just the feminine dark-skinned women. I 100% agree. But it's one thing to be a naturally masculine or androgynous Black woman, and quite another to be a mammy to a white woman, and a mammy or a social justice warrior for white people in their entertainment. Like, that's two different things. And to the masked lesbians or the studs who may be listening to this video, just because you're masked or androgynous doesn't mean you have to be a mammy. That doesn't mean you have to cape for and try to protect and save all marginalized groups. Because most groups are not doing that for you. I mean, I don't see white or Latina masked lesbians or androgynous lesbians collectively caping for Black women or playing security for a Black woman and jumping to fight a man who's charging at her. I don't see those non-Black masculine lesbians allowing themselves to be undermined next to Black women in the media. So this goes beyond Cynthia simply being a mask or androgynous lesbian that's getting representation and visibility in the media. It's deeper than that, Black women. I am aware that Cynthia isn't the most feminine presenting, and I think some of that is definitely natural. She was just featured in British GQ magazine on the cover of the Man of the Year edition. And I saw when she promoted it on her Instagram, she put Daddy's Home in the caption. So, I think she likes to play on androgyny, and I think she's being herself to some extent, which nothing is wrong with it if it's genuine. I'm aware that there are naturally masculine or androgynous Black women. I don't think we all have to be feminine. But I do wonder, in Cynthia's case, I wonder how much of her actual mammy behavior is natural to her personality and how much of it is her internalizing the strong Black woman conditioning that's been forced on her by society and even the Black community because she's an unambiguous dark-skinned woman. Like, that actually is a thing. And I do wonder how much Cynthia is playing into the strong Black woman mammy stereotype to make money and social climb and to be accepted and acknowledged in the industry. It's very beneficial for her to lean into that. So I definitely agree that masculine or androgynous dark-skinned women are allowed to exist. They're allowed to have representation, but we're also allowed to discuss how they're being used for an agenda by racist and colorist people, specifically those who control the mainstream media. And unfortunately, Cynthia is being used by the white supremacists that control the media to mammify and undermine the image of unambiguous dark-skinned women, especially alongside the quote-unquote dainty, helpless damsel in distress white woman like Ariana Grande, which directly contributes to the idea that Black women are less feminine and therefore less woman, can feel less pain, are subhuman, larger than life, and therefore don't need protection. It's all connected, and it is that deep. And Cynthia is allowing herself to be used to perpetuate those stereotypes. And I think she's also internalizing those stereotypes and acting them out in her real life, like what we saw in this situation with Ariana Grande. Now, am I placing the burden on Cynthia to correct all of these harmful, unambiguous stereotypes and optics? No. At the end of the day, she is an individual Black woman, so she is allowed to do what's individually beneficial for her. But if she or any other unambiguous dark-skinned woman is contributing to our negative stereotypical promotion and optics, we have a right to talk about that and push back on it. And the only way we're going to see any improvement and more promotional balance for unambiguous dark-skinned women in the media is if we talk about it and we analyze it and we dissect it and we unpack it. There's no way around it. And like I always say, balance is really the issue here. There's not enough balance in the media because the Cynthia strong Black woman type of representation always goes the most viral, or any other unflattering representation of Black women, and especially dark-skinned Black women. There's just not enough feminine, non-mammy representation of dark-skinned Black women to balance out what we see in the media. And this is why I go so hard for the Alandrias and the Shelleys. I support the push of those kind of women and that kind of representation going viral, because then it would balance things out. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video on corrective promotion, make sure you check it out. Also, make sure you check out my review on the movie Wicked if you want to learn about my concept of optics and corrective promotion for dark-skinned women. Personally, I don't think it's safe nor is it beneficial optics-wise for dark-skinned women to stand in for men and attempt to physically protect anyone, no matter who it is, but especially white women, men, black men, and any other group that doesn't collectively do the same for us. And I saw a few black women talking about this on other platforms, and there were a couple of black women who brought up how Ariana helped a black woman who got wine poured on her at one of the Wicked promotional events. And I guess they brought that up to show where Ariana, quote unquote, protected a black woman. But that in no way compares to what Cynthia did. And that's just another example of black women trying to equalize two situations that really can't be compared so they can have an excuse to mammy and mule for the world. That's clearly a false comparison. Cynthia literally jumped in front of Ariana and shoved away a grown-ass man who charged at her. And by no means am I saying that we can't ever help our friends or protect ourselves against men for the sake of optics for dark-skinned women. Listen, I realize that it's not always that simple, and in some situations, you might have to fight off a man, which is why I recommend carrying some form of self-defense as a woman. But you need to pick and choose your battles, and when men are there to protect you and other women, let them do it. And I don't care how masculine or androgynous you are either. You're still a woman, and it's highly unlikely that you are going to be stronger than a man. So I encourage you to burn the cape, stop muling and mammying for other groups that would not do the same for you. So yeah, that is all I have on this for now. Let me know what you think about this topic down in the comments. Also, share any advice that you have for other black women on how to protect themselves if they should ever find themselves in these kind of situations with their friends. And share any similar stories that you have as well. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.